There, thanks for checking up on me and continuing to follow my progress. I hope your week was amazing and that your life is going your way and that you're achieving all the goals that you wanted. So I'll be sharing what happened this past week, the good and the bad, and where I'm hoping to go in the future, and just various different thoughts that I have had. Alright, stay tuned. So this week's theme was actually based upon a sermon from my deacon from last Sunday. And it boils down to that everything is based off choices. So all choices come from our heart. Whether good or bad, it is something that we think about, ponder, and even if it's out of nowhere, it comes from our heart. And from that aspect, we start making habits. Because every choice you make, if you do it repeatedly over time, creates a habit. Now, he was a little bit more focusing on bad vices and sin, etc. But I decided to change that around a bit and focus on how if you work on trying to focus on the good, make good habits, good choices, though it's hard, you actually start seeing how it not only changes your outside, but also how you see things on the inside, how you relate to people, how you look at the world. Naturally, I'm more optimistic, but there are times where I get easily annoyed with people or have wrath. Those are some issues that I struggle with. By taking things little by little and day by day, I have noticed changes over time, and not just in faith, but all aspects of my life, which will be shown later. But I found throughout this week, practicing and focusing on the little bit by little bit, that I have a little bit more patience with myself and constantly reminding myself hey, I'm a human, I'm going to mess up. And yeah, I do have things I need to work on that affect the outside, but it's coming from what I truly want. And I have to sit back and think, okay, do I really want to do this one thing or another thing, and think about the consequences of those choices and just admit it. But not just admit that I have a problem, but actively work on it, which requires its own choice. So that pretty much sums up my week in faith and what I've been working on and struggling with. This week in the field of family, I pretty much have been focusing on the different types of relationships I have in my life, meaning extended family, close family, good friends, acquaintances, etc. And what do I expect and need from each level? Because for me, every level has different priorities, different level of intimacy and closeness, etc. But I never thought about what is it that I need from them. Usually I'm considering how do I give what I can to this person, or how do I make this person stay in my life, etc. And yeah, that is really unhealthy and unbalanced, and a lot of people do like me for just who I am. It's just I have a hard time believing that. So I think that taking time to sit down and thinking about what are my true needs, not wants or complete idealism, but what are the needs that I have from people in my life, and what kind of expectations do I have for them to fulfill? And if they can't fulfill that, then just being able to let them go a lot more easily. So with that, I have decided for this month to focus on improving the quality of relationships I have in my life. And let me explain. There's a difference in my mind between quality relationships and deepening relationships. That comes with time. And with any relationship, and as you know, it's the theme for this video, it's a bit by bit process. It's a give and take. It's letting down the walls and becoming closer with one another, and that's just something time has to help improve. And I have been, in my past, gone really close to people, but been really hurt because they just upped and left, and that made me feel like I wasn't worth their time in life or commitment or anything like that. So working on quality, improving that, and just enjoying the moment more with that person, because majority of the people who are my friends in my life will leave, and it's not a bad thing, it's just how it is. The ones that I will fight to hold on to will be close friends, and naturally family is family to me, so they're going to be stuck with me no matter what. But improving the quality of those relationships as well, just talking with them more, being more open, and pretty much just getting to know each other, not just as blood relatives, but as friends as well. So for fitness, one thing I'm very proud about is I lost 30 pounds since starting this journey. And I truly am proud of that. I'm just a little bit disappointed as well because I thought I would be way farther than this. And I have learned a lot through this whole process. One is having to have a lot of patience with myself and understanding that I'm human and I'm going to make a lot of stupid mistakes, especially because I'm emotion-based and I have a lot of psychology to work through when it comes to my relationship with food. As you can see through the pictures I have, I definitely am working on my insecurities with my body, but one thing is that I've noticed that the pictures, it doesn't seem like I've changed all that much, but I have. I don't know why it's not translating in pictures, but how I see myself definitely has changed. I noticed a lot of changes, especially with my back and my face. Not so much the stomach, but inner thighs. But I do see a lot of change, and that's definitely encouraged me to keep going, to push forward, to honestly just keep on the path that I'm going and understand that, like everything else, it's a bit by bit process and day by day, and it requires intentional choices on my half. And most of the choices have to do in this room and knowing what I'm putting inside my body. As you can tell from the graph, that is pretty much just how life goes, at least in my opinion. I'm trying to go down opposite of what I want my stocks to do, but as you can see, it's like a roller coaster going up and down, and it's a daily change. But the good thing about that is that I learned how to detach my emotions from the weight scale. So instead of getting happy or upset or anything, all I do is take it as information of what direction am I heading, and as long as it's going down in a downwards direction, that's all that really matters to me, and that's pretty much my goal. Another thing that the graph showed is trial and error. I tried different things, it did not work out, I messed up multiple times, and I see the results of that, and it taught me to also how to be more moderate in certain things. Like when I go out or hang out with friends, I have to always think about, okay, I'm most likely going to gain weight, which is going to push back my timetable a little bit. Is it worth it? And that's kind of a hard thing to try to explain to others. So you gotta learn a process that works for you. And my process is still ongoing because there are times where I'm just like, no, screw it, I just want to go have fun. Okay, cool. I just have to learn that I have to accept the consequences. I can choose what I do, but I can't choose whether I'm going to take the consequences or not. So that's a interesting lesson and probably going to take me a lot longer. But hey, I'm going in the right direction, and that's what matters to me most. If you've been following me for a little bit or keeping track of my story, you know that at the beginning of the year and earlier, I was just bad with money. I did pretty much pay off all my debts and began investing slowly last year, but overall I've been increasing my knowledge of how to do better, and in essence is pretty much the same theme throughout the whole video, which is everything is step by step. So starting little, this is my portfolio with Charles Schwab, starting very low and then bit by bit over time it's going up. Now it's worth 20K. And luckily by the beginning of September, I was worth about 77K, which includes my TSP. So that's part of my retirement. So you can't completely count that, but oh no, hell, it makes me feel good knowing that I have some money in the background to help for in case things go down. But oh no, I would have to say that understanding the process, and not only just understanding the process, but trusting the process of compound interest and just giving it time to be able to improve. Just kind of like in fitness, trusting the process of working out, calorie deficit will change your body. It might not go as fast as you would like, and there are certain situations which will mess things up, but over time, things do improve, and it's always keeping that in mind. And also, please understand, I am not a financial expert. I kind of made a $500 mistake when it came to creating my budget. As you can see here, I pretty much thought I had extra money, which turns out I didn't. And then I had to pull out money from my vacation savings. So I'm not too upset about it, because part of me, if I do have extra money, I feel personally obligated to give half to the poor, which I do via my church. But all in all, it turned out okay. It was a mistake that needed to happen so that way I could learn and double check things. And sadly, math is not my strong point, and I wish I could say I was fighting a stereotype of gay people not being able to do math, but it's kind of a thing. But so far, surviving. So with this weekend education, I actually finally finished up my Russian class, took the final exam. I got about an 80% with listening and an 85% with reading, which honestly is really good if you understand languages and the various levels that they have. So I'm quite satisfied with that achievement. And the other thing with education I've been trying to work on is not multitasking or trying to do a whole bunch of subjects in one single day, but try to keep a theme, a story and everything, because that's easier for me to keep track of and then be able to put everything together one bit at a time. And that's honestly how my language or any kind of thing I'm learning, I need to take it bit by bit. Though the difference is I like to see the bigger picture first and then get into the smaller details about how something came about, which is very applicable to history, which is one of my favorite subjects of all. The other things I've been doing is actually watching other YouTube people to see how they do things, and one of my favorite is just Joey Lee and his Be Less Shitty brand. So if you haven't heard of him, I suggest you go there. He's an amazing dude, and I like a lot of what he has to say message-wise. But not just YouTube personnel, but also looking at Instagram and other social media aspects to see what are some good habits that I can pick up, or what are aspects that I like that I would like to apply to myself or learn how to do. So yeah, pretty much most of my education this week has been finishing up Russian class and then trying to teach myself certain skills to be able to make better social media. So for this weekend career, I actually began the process of selecting orders. I'm in my window, and I'm hoping to get instructor duty, which is teaching, especially in the language area. But if there's other areas where I can teach, I'm totally cool with that. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to try to focus on the positives of wherever they do decide to send me. One thing I can say is I always enjoy the people I'm around. Not every single person. There are some people I absolutely cannot stand. But every opportunity has gave me new perspectives and experiences which helped form who I am. And I like who I am, so I have to appreciate everything that helped me get there. Another thing with career is this: YouTube, social media, etc. I'm practicing by trial. Pretty much trial by combat, seeing how things work and do not work, such as changing up the format with YouTube videos and trying to be more story about it, conversation about it, and also be able to be more open and vulnerable and just talk to you like I would anyone else who's face to face with me. So we'll see how that goes, and inshallah things will continue to improve. But I'm not afraid of making any mistakes, because I really do believe that this is my calling or vocation in Catholic language, to just reach out to people and share my experiences in life and be able to not just say words or talk, but actually show how my life goes by following the philosophy and beliefs that I have, and hopefully inspire other people to improve their lives and, of course, become the people that they were created to be. You may be wondering, like, how do you measure progress on romance, or whether you're improving in that area? And honestly, I don't know how to fit that into the theme, but I can tell you about the way that I have changed my view over time. So, like I've said before in the past, I used to be really desperate, looking for someone, trying to change myself to fit them or find ways to make people like me, using money or alcohol, or pretty much just buying affection or paying for it. And has proven none of that really works, because all I could do is just cling to them, and that was never healthy. It wasn't good for them, it wasn't good for me. But being able to be single and learn not just from my own mistakes and failures in the past, but looking at other people's examples, reasons why they failed when I thought they would do well, or people like in my family where we have no divorces, what are the good qualities that made them be able to weather various storms and bring them together. Yes, of course, I do believe that God's going to guide me to the right man one day, but it's a kind of like one of those things where, yes, have hope and faith, but also just don't sit there and expect everything to happen. I'm supposed to still be my whole self and grow as a human being. So from all of that, what I did do is make progress in setting standards of what I do find I need in a relationship and what I don't need. What kind of man am I looking for to be a partner in my life, and what kind of man am I? What can I offer to the relationship to help push us both to be better and to become awesome men who will make history in the world and one day become saints, become parish saints like Saint Sergius and Saint Bacchus. But hey, I never know how it's going to turn out, and I really do hope that I meet him soon and begin that process. But all in all, I'm still working on myself, and I still have a lot of work to go in that aspect. All I know is whoever's going to be with me is going to have a lot of patience and pretty much being able to be honest with me and just help push me along as I'll do the same for him. I'd like to thank you again for watching to the end, keeping track of how my life is going and the various progress I'm making in various aspects of my life. And I really do hope that your life is going well and that you're reaching your goals. And if anything, let me just continue to pray for you to advance in life and experience everything so that way you can live your full life and be who you truly are. If you like this video, please give a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any good suggestions for me, and any kind of support is welcome, especially prayer. So until next week, have a blessed